Hello and welcome to Leadership Live. This is a very special Leadership Live, our final one of 2023. So let's celebrate today. And today is all about celebrating your success. And this has been my theme for the month. And maybe for many of you, it's been the theme for the month because we are getting to the end of the year. And I know, talking to my guests that are going to be joining us shortly, that it hasn't necessarily been a straightforward year. There have been some challenges as we've gone through it. So there is something about making sure we acknowledge the journey you've been on this year, but also to notice how have you got yourself through it and what can you celebrate from the things that you've learned from the challenges you may have faced. So sometimes the successes or the celebration isn't so obvious, but it is about noticing how you are growing, how you are developing through the challenges that you may well have faced. So my name is Mary Gregory. Just to remind you of who I am, I'm a leadership coach and consultant and author of the book Ego, Get Over Yourself and Lead, and also contributor to Fab Collab. And we have three of my fellow contributors that I'm about to introduce you to shortly. But I'm really, really delighted today because we're going to hopefully have a bit of a party atmosphere. And if you are watching live, please do put your comments in the comments box and also pop your name on before you make your comment, because we are on StreamYard and it doesn't automatically put your name on. We'd love to see who's actually making those comments. So let me just introduce you to my guests though now, because they're waiting in the wings. And I've invited them here because they are all phenomenal women leaders who run their own businesses, who navigate uncertainty, who create success every day. And the first guest that I'm delighted to join me is Lynne Parker, who is the founder and CEO of Funny Women, so a very pioneering organisation. Hello, Lynne.
Hiya.
And we are also joined by Andrea Richards, who is CEO and founder of Accounts Navigator. And I'm going to bring her on now. So hello.
Morning, guys.
Hello there. It's actually afternoon now.
Oh, God. Yeah.
It's that time of year. It's that time of year when you're not quite sure what time of the day it is, isn't it? And next we have the wonderful Lisa Webb, who is the founder and CEO of Pink Frog Design and Branding Agency. Hello.
Hi,
Lisa.
Mary.
And finally, last but not least, just joining us now is Debbie Gilbert, another phenomenal businesswoman owner who, I'm not sure I said that properly then, but anyway, I'm getting the excitement I'm getting carried away with. But Debbie, really warm welcome to you. Debbie is not just she is the founder and CEO of Best Business Women Awards, but also runs all sorts of other businesses. There are too numerous to mention, Debbie. I think you probably have to tell us all the different businesses that you mentioned. But welcome, Debbie.
Hello, lovely to be here.
Good to see you, and sorry to just catch you there as you're taking a glug of water. But anyway, very warm welcome to you all. And today is about acknowledging the progress you've made through 2023. And we've got Donna watching us. So hello, Donna. Thanks for sharing and saying hello to all our guests here. And we'd like you to share your successes, Donna, as we go through the session. Please do share the things that you have been successful of and that you're proud of in celebrating this year as well. But let's just talk to you first. I mean, what, from your perspective, I'm going to invite you, Lynne, to share first. What do you think, why is it important, do you think, that we acknowledge our success and our progress? What difference does it make?
Well, I work mainly in the world of entertainment or corporate events. And I think no one likes a shrinking violet. I've learned that from the world of comedy. Stand-up comedians are really good at telling everyone how brilliant they are. And I think that's so important, because I think a lot of us, myself very much included, will not necessarily make the first thing that I've done. You know, I won't openly go and say to people that I've been doing what I'm doing with Funny Women. I've been doing it for over 20 years. It's an incredible long period. I mean, it's the longest time I've done anything in my life professionally. I have been married longer, so that's probably a success.
Well, that's something to celebrate.
Yeah. Second marriage too, so I've packed them in, I tell you. But I think that we don't always give ourselves the love that we give others, actually.
Yes.
Trying to put it a bit more succinctly. I spend my life telling everyone else how wonderful they are and how good they are, and promoting them, and running the Funny Women Awards. Like Debbie, I run awards as well. And, you know, that's about celebrating other women. But I'm really bad at giving myself the same kind of love.
Yes.
You know? But I think that's quite peculiar to people in our walk of life. I think we're very much about supporting other women first, but not necessarily thinking about ourselves. And I think that's something I've learned quite a hard way this year. But anyway, more of that later.
So nurturing our own souls, looking after ourselves, all really important things, and acknowledging our progress, celebrating our success is one way of doing that. Yeah. And Hella is sending her festive greetings through to us, which is great to know that she's watching as well. Andrea, I'm going to ask you, because you run a team. You've got quite a substantial business. We've got quite a large team that you're leading. How do you think the whole element of celebration works for you when you've got a team? What difference does it make to your team to make sure you stop and celebrate?
Okay, so as a leader and being at the top of the chain of the business, for me, with you celebrating me, I'm constantly celebrating everybody underneath me for doing a good job and recognizing them. Me being at the top of the chain within the business, if I'm not patting myself on the back, no one's patting me on the back. You know, you have to go out of your business to get acknowledgement, for people to tell you that you're doing a great thing and that. So celebrating your success is really important. Even if you have to go outside of the business to do that.
Yes. So making sure there's acknowledgement from outside the business makes a difference. Does that impact the team as well?
Well, for me, I'm always acknowledging my team. I'm always telling them what a great job they're doing. And we celebrate their successes when they pass exams, when they've done a good job with a client. All those things are always celebrated within the business. And that. So I feel my team are always acknowledged and we're celebrating their successes. But as the business owner, it'd be interesting to know how many other business owners feel that they're being celebrated. And that unless you're coming out of the workplace, there's no one patting you on the back. That's
interesting. So when you're at the top of the organization, yes, that's really interesting, because I wrote an article this year about for CEOs, it's the loneliest job in the world for many CEOs, because they not only do they not get acknowledged so much, but also who do they share their concerns with, because people lower down the organization, they can't count on them necessarily to tell them the truth and things as well. So I can hear where you're coming from there. Debbie, do you have a similar experience with running your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really important to constantly reinforce how good a job people are doing, not just people who work with you, like work for you, but you people that you work with, you know, it's really important. Yeah. Motivation. Very motivating.
Yeah, it is so it's really important for motivation. Yeah. And for you, Lisa, what's your experience of celebrating successes? How big's are you leading a team, or do you work with freelancers, or how does it work for you?
So Pink Frog will be 25 next year, which is
that's a definite chance to celebrate.
Definite chance to celebrate, in theory, indeed. So it's been different things at different stages. So it was in an office with a team of 7, very similar to what's been said. You know, there was an awful lot of me celebrating everybody else's success and creativity and the winning of pitches, but it is very lonely, without a doubt, at the top. And also, I'm not sure creatives are always cut out for that, to be honest. I'd come from working with teams to that, and I did find that quite a strain, I must admit. Although, obviously, I picked the designers that worked for me. So we all got on, and celebrating, you know, that's not the most difficult bit. But finding structure and what to do when things were more difficult, that was definitely harder for me when I had a team. Now I have now it's more of a boutique. So now I pick people that I need within the jobs that I'm doing.
Yes.
And I am, I always go to, it's very important to me to say thank you for work that people do, because I find people never say thank you for that work, especially when they're paying for it.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you get a good job.
Yeah.
I am super thankful for the people that I have in my teams when I'm working with them.
Yes, wonderful.
And that celebration is really important. That's what keeps those people coming back to work with me.
Yes, yes. And you mentioned thank you. There was a lot of research done. This is looking at organizations and what works in terms of motivating people at work. And organizations, big corporates, can spend a fortune on big events and jazzy cruises and all sorts of things to motivate people. But actually the research, what came back in the research was the most motivating thing anyone can do is just say thank you. That's the most, and that costs nothing, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Also, a jazzy cruise sounds awful, but and a thank you sounds brilliant. It's true. People forget. It's not that they don't feel it; they do feel it, especially, but they just, life is busy, and because of that, people just go on to the next thing.
And that is the challenge, isn't it? That often we do keep. I know I'm guilty of that. To keep going, and I don't even notice the progress I've made, and it can lose the learning that I'm making from that progress as well. So
I think that's really important. I think if you took yourself back 3 or 4 years or 5 years or whatever, and could see where you are now, you'd be pretty amazed. I think most of the time, and yet we're always kind of striving for something else, and that stops us celebrating where we've got to.
So I'm going to thank you for that, and I'm going to invite everyone to share what you want to celebrate from this year. What's been your biggest achievement, and also the biggest challenge you've overcome? Because I think we were talking before we came on about it isn't all about glossing over the tough times. 2023 hasn't necessarily been a straightforward, easy year. It's been quite a challenging year for many people. So it's about not just your greatest achievement, but also the greatest challenge that you've overcome as well. So I'm going to invite you to share about that. But I just want to mention that Donna has shared, I've had such a great year when I look back, but the top one for me has to be hitting number 40 in the top 100 in the Great Britain Entrepreneur category. Steve Bartlett was number 1. My word, Donna, that's fantastic. It is the only time I'll ever get to top and tail with him. Well, that is a fantastic thing to celebrate. I don't know whether anyone can beat that in terms of getting close to Steve Bartlett and topping and tailing with him. But I'm going to now invite each of you just to share. So first of all, Debbie, I'm going to come to you first. What would you say is the thing you're most proud of that you've achieved this year, your greatest achievement?
Well, I think there's been a few things. Obviously, the Fab Collab book was amazing, and we got that to number 1 bestseller. And I was a finalist in the Great British Awards for Female Entrepreneur of the Year. It's the first time I'd kind of entered me into awards rather than the company. So that was quite nice. And then I think awards are great. And obviously I'm a big advocate of awards, but actually getting at the Sister Snog Christmas event, I received the Lose Dash Award, which is kind of something where you've been chosen by your peers, was really honest. And all the big shiny awards I've got are kind of, that one is more special because it was, Tracy and Julia that picked me. And I think to be sort of chosen for something like that is really good. And I moved to Somerset, so I had a big upheaval, and we're now back up higher than what we were in COVID, pre-COVID, our turnover and profit. So it's taken two years to recover, but we're now where we should have been in 2020. We are now back there. So exceeding those targets. So that's good. And that was it really.
So lots of things to celebrate then, and a selection there, and lovely that you've moved to Somerset as well. Hella is concurring with what you're saying about Fab Collab, because she stays saying celebrating Fab Collab and the ripples post the launch at the celebration of collaboration. And she's also saying, if the crown fits, Debbie, you've got to wear it. So all those awards actually say something. So brilliant. Thank you. Let's come to you, Andrea, next. What do you think is your greatest achievement this year?
Well, the year's not been so great, but it's ending on a good note. So 2023 was the worst business year I've ever had in my 21 years.
Okay.
And there was a lot that went on, and I lost 17 members in a 3-week period, which had a disastrous effect on the business. So my celebration is the fact that my sons came to save the day, and they've both joined the business. They left their own jobs and came to join the business and rebuilding the team and that. So I've managed to do that over the last, that happened in May. We're now in December and we're there. Great. So rebuilding the team and just getting back to some form of normality in day-to-day business is been the championing thing for me, because it's just been a really hard year. Yeah,
a tough year and tough situation, but what I hear is it didn't overthrow you. It didn't stop you. You kept going. And the lessons you must have, what have you learned from that?
Right. Literally how resilient I am. Like, I'd actually been off the books for 6 years as an accountant. I built the team. So my team were doing all the day-to-day stuff. And I called myself client liaison. And sales and marketing, that was my role within the business. And so I hadn't actually sat down and done the books. I had to learn new software when I got back on the books. That I'd implemented software into the business but never used it, and so I had to learn new software. So I've learned loads this year. I've managed to bringing my sons into the business is great, and that now we have a plan for the future. This could never happen again because my boys are here and they're part of the business and that. And so what happened could never happen again. I've just learned so much this year about how resilient I am, that I remembered that I am actually an accountant and I can do accounts. And so I'm back, I can actually do the work, because I had to get back on the computer and do day-to-day work, and it all came flooding back. And
fantastic.
So it was just how resilient I am.
So, but also that's a wonderful case study almost. We get faced with absolute awful circumstances, and leadership and power and being powerful is all about how you respond to your circumstances. And you responded so well to them and met the challenges head on. And now the things you've just recounted are a whole list of things to celebrate in terms of what you've been successful at, even though at the time it was probably tearing your hair out moment when it all actually happened. But the way you've responded and now the results you've achieved, incredible. So you'll be really, I hope you're putting your feet up over Christmas.
Friday, tomorrow's the last day. And stuff. You'll see me in the new year.
Great stuff. So lovely. We've had an example already of just successes as they happen, and then also how we can make success out of challenges that happen to us as well. Lynne, how about for you? How's your year been?
Well, I actually echo what Andrea says a lot. I think probably last year was the start of it being terrible, because the beginning of 2022, those of us coming in the arts world who were coming out of COVID had been able to get funding from the government through the Culture Recovery Fund. And we got turned down for the last round, which was, I still feel the pain. I still don't understand it. And it was compounded by lack of sponsorship, lack of corporate work. And that was through last year. So I entered this year thinking it can't be any worse. And we started this year in effectively special measures. Like, again, I had to let a lot of my team are freelance, but they were all on retainers. But I had to let them all go this summer 2022. And again, exactly the same. I had to pick up and do things that I've not done for a long time. When you've had a business for over 20 years, you're used to other people doing things. So suddenly I'm like doing everything, and I don't want to do everything. And you have to sink or swim, don't you? You just have to decide. So I started 2023 full of hope that it couldn't get any worse. And then halfway through, We launched the Funny Women Awards every year on the 1st of April, not a joke. And halfway through, we got told by our long-term sponsor that they were pulling out due to lots of changes in their organisation. I don't blame them. I mean, everyone I work with at Sky has been made redundant. So clearly there was a lot going on. So again, you know, this is a snowball effect of the current economy. This isn't, I think you can't take it personally. You have to accept that. But then there are knock-on effects from that, because we were committed to certain things, certain subscriptions, certain platforms that we pay into. I won't go into it, but one of them has been really difficult and is chasing us for money that we just don't have, without any sympathy. There's a kind of lack of sympathy and warmness and empathy around with larger organizations. And I wish they'd understand what it's like being on the coalface of running a small business, because I don't think they get it. They're all getting their salaries. They don't care, you know, and you're dealing with some anonymous person in accounts who says, well, you've got to pay it. And I'm going, well, I haven't got it. You know, I'm going to have to go down the road and borrow the money from somewhere. It's that kind of thing that really makes me angry. But, you know, and then again, you know, banks, high street banks are really bad at supporting young businesses. Not young business, small businesses. They love young businesses. They're not interested in old businesses like us. They just want their pound of flesh. And you know, a lot of us came out of COVID with extra loans, extra commitments financially. I have, though, I'm very proud of the fact that I've actually navigated all of that. And I suppose my biggest achievement is that Funny Women is still here. And
it is still here. And you had the awards and they were fantastic.
Yeah, we had the awards again. I mean, we had to do them very differently again this year. Every year I think, oh God, I can't wait to do more live events. We had to do a lot of it online. But you know what? We still did it, and we still had a fantastic event, the final.
Jo Brand was
well, Jo Brand is our matron, as we call her, and Jo is just so fabulously supportive. And when I told her what was going on, and we were having a chat about things, and she said, I said, you are coming to the final? She said, yeah. She said, who's hosting it? I said, oh, I don't know yet, because we'd been turned down by several people because we didn't have enough money to pay people. So the management companies were all going, well, you know, they won't do it. And these are people who have got their careers out of Funny Women and they won't do it, you know. And Jo said, well, I suppose I could do it. And that was it. And bless her. And she didn't charge us. And what a wonderful person.
She was fabulous.
Being it. And we also, not long ago, a few weeks ago, we had tea with her and all the award category winners. We all met up for tea. And she's just so lovely and generous and kind and supportive of other women. So I think achievement-wise, that whole thing embodies really what Funny Women is all about, because it's not about making money. It's a not-for-profit. I don't do it. Crikey, I wouldn't do that to get rich. I mean, there's got to be easier ways, and I do it because I believe in the creative spirit of women, and that we are truly funny. I think all women are funny, and you know, I know through my interactions with, you know, we've already mentioned Sister Snog. I mean, every interaction ever with them is about fun and humour, and that is echoed through all the organisations that I have particular affiliation with. I won't join anything or be involved with anything that doesn't involve fun. So I would actually like to say a massive two things. I was acknowledged at the final. The wonderful Tracy Barr, who I know a lot of people on here know, is chair of our non-executive board, and she organised a little presentation to me, which was very, very special. And I still feel a bit, I have to say, embarrassed about it, but there you go. That's me. A bit like Debbie, you know, being sort of acknowledged is so fantastic. And the other thing that happened this year, which was really special, was that BBC Radio 4 made a 1-hour documentary all about the history of Funny Women called 20 Years of Funny Women. And I can't actually listen to it too much because it chokes me up, because some of the women that contributed to it, it's just amazing. It's so wonderful. So well, that says it all. You know,
that's fantastic. And you're still here, and Funny Women is still here, and there are people acknowledging. And from my perspective, it would be a complete waste to let Fanny Winham go. It can never really go, because it's such a stand for that in this world of trying to create equity and gender parity. It's got to keep going. There's no question of it. So I'm sure it will.
And we've all had some fun together, because we were all together at the summer school. Andrea was there as well. And you know what? That's for me an achievement, is when I do that kind of thing and everyone has a great time.
Yes.
And the dog joins in. So there you go.
The dog joins in. The dogs who I'd put in the kitchen. I'd put them in the kitchen. My partner comes home, he puts them back in my office. Anyway, hopefully they don't kick off while we're still on air. But anyway, fingers crossed. Anyway, we've got a couple of comments before we come to you, Lisa, about from Donna. Being able to bounce back from setbacks is an amazing achievement. So actually, for both you and Andrea, sharing those stories of coming back, absolutely worth celebrating. And the fact, you're both still here, you've got through those challenges. What else is Donna saying? Going back to the hard stuff is a testament as a business owner. Going through it isn't easy, but it's inspiring when you share it. So you are inspiring people, both of you, by sharing your stories today. And Hella, there was a time when I said music and comedy will save the economy. I'm sure Lynn and Mary with her chair. Oh, her choir. I can't read. The print's too small. I'm struggling with reading it. Her choir would agree. I'm in a choir, folks, just so you know. And what fun we had, including Andrea at the day with Lynn at her workshop. So we did have such a giggle at your workshop. So laughter, actually.
Quick plug. I'm doing another one, 3rd of Feb. Winter warm up. That one's called.
Sounds fabulous. I think I'm away in India, but I would love.
You'll be warm enough. You won't need a warm up.
Maybe I can tune in from afar, but who knows? But yes, having a giggle and laughing again helps you get through those difficult times, and it's something to be celebrated. One of the things about celebration is feel good, and it makes us feel happier. So, Lisa, coming to you, what about from you? What's your greatest achievement this year?
It's been quite a bonkers year. I found myself in a role of carer for a family member, and that was unexpected, and that meant rejigging lots of things and changing the way I do things, and it turns out I like what I do, and I didn't like it being taken away so much, and definitely a struggle, but I have people who have my back. I have people who help me out, and I've managed to keep everything running, and I looked after my clients, and I'm super proud of helping a couple of people who in really tough times have taken the leap to start their own business. That's a brilliant thing to be able to do. It's the favorite, it's the best bit of what I do, I think.
That's great.
And, personally, for me, the most amazing thing would definitely be being part of the Fab Collab thing. Not so much the book, but when we did the live, I've never spoken in live on a stage before.
Right.
And I've only ever done that on a computer. So that was a really different thing for me to do, and I loved it. It was great.
Great. Well done. That's really, really good to hear. I feel like I should be doing a round of applauses to everybody as they're sharing. So let's think about, so that's what you've done. That's what you've achieved this year, be it going through adversity, be it, re-establishing yourself after lockdown and all the COVID challenges that we faced. Back to you, Debbie. What are you excited about for 2024? What are you looking forward to?
That's a really good question. I've got the 10th birthday of the Best Businesswomen Awards. So I think when I look back now, when I first started the awards, did I expect 10 years later it would still be going? No, probably not. You sort of start something with trepidation and you're not really sure how it's going to be received. And what we've started to do is put together compilations of the 10 years and looking at photos and video. And, I feel a huge sense of pride of where we've come from to where we are today. And we're in a new venue next year, the Hilton Scion Park. So that for me, it's going to be a big year. We've also brought back an additional expo next year. So kind of pre-recovery again from COVID. So we only put on 2 events this year. We're going back up to 3, and we've got a new area. So, you know, that's exciting. And we've got new groups opening with Business Women Unlimited as well, which is a networking company that I own. And there's a lot going on, really. So it's going to be another really great year. I'm really excited about it. I mean, it was my 25th birthday this year, but because I moved, I didn't really celebrate that. So I kind of think I probably need to do something to mark 25 years in business, but haven't done it yet. So I'm kind of looking at how I can bring that in next year.
Sounds like a joint celebration, 10 years for Best Business Women and 25 years in business.
Yeah, I should do something, but this year just wasn't feasible.
Important anniversaries. Hella's backing you up there, saying milestone anniversaries should truly be celebrated. And we all have a glorious gang of those who want to celebrate with us. And I think we all do. I know we all know each other in our networks, but our networks beyond this small group that we are now, I'm sure will be very hungry to celebrate as well. Coming back to you, Lisa, what are you excited about for 2024?
Actually, I'm not really one for planning, but some of my enforced changes this year have actually been the first time I've stopped working for a short while and thought about what the future might look like.
Yes.
And that's really exciting. So I have been thinking about how I structure what I do, who I want to reach. I'm really thinking about what Pink Frog can look like for another 5 years.
Yes.
When I started, I didn't particularly think Pink Frog would last a year or 2 or 5 or anything. 25 years later, I'm still here. And that's kind of extraordinary to me.
Yes. Yes.
And I'm kind of keen to see what the next 5 years will look like.
Yes.
It feels exciting.
Yeah. There's a theme emerging here. Both of you didn't expect things to last as long as they did, and they have, which is great. And from you, Lynn, what about for you? What are you excited about?
Yeah, that's so interesting, because I had the same thought and discussion when Funny Women was 5 years in, about where I didn't expect it to last that long. And here we are going into, I mean, I set it up in 2002. So I'm technically going into my 22nd year next year. Honestly, I'm really bad at celebrating myself, as I think I've already said. So 2 things. And I also suffer terribly from FOMO. I get the most awful FOMO. And I beat myself up about it. And I wasn't part of the Fab Collab book because I just couldn't get my head around being part of anything like that this year. Just everything had to focus on keeping the business alive, and that was more important. I actually couldn't do all the things I wanted to do this year because the priority was to keep it going. And so looking back at this year, I'm like thinking, well, what have I actually achieved other than keeping it going? So the future next year is about me. It's Lynne year. I'm a classic sandwich generation. I've got a very elderly and quite fragile old mum. And I've got a beautiful new granddaughter who's now 1 year old. And my priorities have changed, and I need a bit, what you were saying about caring. It really makes you think about how you're, I never think of myself as a carer. My mum does have support, but I am her main priority. I'm the only person she's got. So I want to explore my own creativity. It might mean that I put the awards on hold for a year. I don't know. I'm considering that. And after 20 years of serving my community, I want to put some of my own personal projects back on the agenda. I mean, I put them all back on the back burner to get through COVID and to keep women going. So my priority next year is self-development and my book, which will be out this time next year. I've said it now.
Fantastic.
But I have to do it, and it will be book number 1, and then I have a plan for a follow-up. But I keep putting these things on hold because it's all about survival. Yes. And I need to go beyond survival now and do something for me.
Do something for you so that you can thrive, because actually if we're surviving, we're not thriving. You need to move into the thrive zone.
Yes, absolutely.
Fabulous, fabulous. Andrea, how about for you?
Okay, so I feel like I'm the baby of the group. I've only had my business 21 years. I'm the baby. Okay, 21 years. So, I would like to celebrate my 21st anniversary. And now that the team are settled and stuff, I can get back to doing what I thought I would have been doing this year. And so, wrote in Fab Collab book. I then got the honour of writing in 2 other books, and that writing their account and finance section of those books for 2 other authors. And so that I really enjoyed doing that. And so on that basis, Lynne, you're saying about writing a book, I'm going to write a book. Yeah, and it's going to be an accountancy book with Andrea in it.
Please don't call it that. Please don't call it the accountancy book.
You've got to find a very compelling title for it.
I'll think of something, I'm sure. But it's actually going to be about me with accountancy thrown in. That's how it's going to be.
Funny with money. How about that? Funny with money.
I like that. I like that. And but also, I want to, come off the accountancy table and start doing finance mentoring, because people keep asking me for it.
Yes.
And it's not something that I've done. So that is something that I want to do next year, 2024. Start my finance mentoring, write the book, and celebrate my 21st anniversary.
Fantastic. That's really, really fantastic. Well, and we've got some comments here from Donna and Hella again. Hella is saying, Lynne, your book is on everyone's must-read list already.
Good. So that's one sale.
You've already got. Well, I think you've probably got 4 or 5 sales already, actually. And Hella's also saying she might write a kiss and tell. Interesting, Hella. And Donna also says you can celebrate anytime. She's got a business bestie who achieved 10 years in business, but she didn't actually celebrate until her 11th year. So she has celebrated her 11th year. It's very true. It's just celebration is really important whenever you celebrate it, but just make sure you do it. And any other comments, just looking there?
I'm just going to say that I want to have that funny with money as a chapter in my book, please, Andrea.
Okay.
I'm going to be speaking to lots of people I know in my research for the book, because really a lot of my life is a lot of my skills are facilitated through other people. So I want to bring other expertise in. So that's definitely, I'm writing it down now. That is one of the chapters.
Brilliant.
You'll have to pay me if you want to use it for your book.
Okay.
She's copyrighted it already. Okay, well, listen, thank you all so very much for joining me today. Are there any final thoughts you want to share around the theme of celebration or the theme of the year that you've experienced? Or do you feel you've said it all?
Can I just
got a hand up?
Well, I was just going to say, keep a success journal. If you don't do anything else, either keep things written down once a month or have a little folder on your desktop that you put those things in, because it's very easy to forget the small wins, and those small wins add up to big wins.
Yes.
And then if you do decide to enter awards, or you want to do something else to celebrate something in your business, you've actually got that record of what you've done. And what you've achieved, and great for social media posts at the end of the year as well.
Very good. Thank you for that, Debbie. My partner, actually, he encouraged me, or he did this with his business and encouraged me to do the same. He has in one of his mailboxes, he's called it brag. So whenever something good, whenever he gets a good piece of feedback, or he knows he's achieved something big or whatever it is, it all goes in his brag box. So it's what I think where that's really good is when you're having a day with the gremlins. The gremlins are saying, you're never getting anywhere. You can open your brag box and see all the things you've achieved and all the nice things that people are saying about you. But that's a great idea, Debbie. Thank you for reminding me.
Brilliant.
I like that idea, and I think it's a brilliant idea, actually. But I immediately, the minute you talk about it, I feel uncomfortable about sharing some of those things on social media. So I just kind of want to put another take on it, which is that I think what we all need are cheerleaders. And some of us get it through networking and what have you. I've struggled with that this year, because I think a lot of networks, I think networking has fallen off a bit. I think a lot of organizations have had to, that had to reframe their memberships because it's hard to join things if you haven't got enough money. I've had to cut back on things because I haven't had enough time or money. So I've built my little I have my non-executive board, and they're my cheerleaders. And I think there's nothing wrong in having a little WhatsApp group with those people and just say, I'm feeling a bit down. Can you tell me some nice things about myself? I think we all need that.
Yes.
And I think the problem with social media, it's a big, wide open space. And some bit of advice I've had literally in the last week is not to look at it just before I go to sleep at night. Because what I do is I fall asleep looking at everybody else's wonderful success stories and feeling like some kind of weird failure myself. Yes. So my tip would be, set your little cheerleader group up, or be your own cheerleader, and taking Debbie's idea and writing it down so you are like your own cheerleader.
Yeah,
a really good way of doing it. But I think I think we don't talk about it. I personally really struggle with social media. Yeah, I find it really hard. So knowing how to manage it and how to switch off, and when not.
There's something as well about having social media breaks. So don't, making sure you have maybe at weekends you leave your phone at home or something. Or you certainly turn off your notifications so you're not getting bombarded all the time. Hella's saying it's a double-edged sword. I agree, it is a double-edged sword. Yeah. But those ideas, your cheerleading team, your success journal, your brag box are all great ways to keep us in touch with our successes and our progress as we go through the year, so we don't sort of get to the end and think, what have I done? It's like reminding us that we are making progress. Okay, I'm going to bring us to a close now. It has been a really, really fabulous conversation. Thank you to Hella and Donna for making all those comments in our chat, and to those of you that are watching and catch up, please do also comment. We'd love to hear from you. To wish everyone now, go away, enjoy. It's the end of term. It's the end of the year. Have a fantastic festive season, however you're celebrating it. And we look forward to seeing you again in 2024. Bye for now.
Thanks, Mary.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.